Well, it's another beautiful day here. I just can't get over how many beautiful days we've had. Now, of course, tomorrow it's going to get real hot. But again, it gets hot for maybe a week and then it cools off. Just amazing. So Carolyn came out today while it's still cool and getting the laundry done. It's really neat how she does it. She uses this side to wash. She uses a plunger. And then this side, she uses it like an actual wash machine. And then, of course, she's got her dryer here. I wanted to talk about SHTF again and the comparisons between preppers, stockpilers, and off-grid living or self-sustaining living. Being reasonable, having some reality into your plan, not this fear-mongering stuff. So I want to start out with the fear-mongering. So on Saturday, I think every prepper in the world started making videos, the YouTubers, about how the supply line was going to be shut down today, Monday. This is Monday. Of course, you'll get this on Tuesday. Supply line was going to be shut down because of the railroad strike. 30% of the trains are going to be shut down, and it's going to be the end of the world. You're not going to be able to get any supplies. It's already bad enough. What I find funny about that is the problem was resolved on Friday. The administration was able to put a temporary stop on the strike. There was going to be a railroad worker strike. Apparently, they're the only union in the United States that the president can stop from going on strike. So he stopped it on Friday. But on Saturday, they're all screaming how everything's going to get shut down. It's fear-mongering. They want you to be scared. I guess you just watch the videos. But I really don't think they know how to prep. Let's take the worst-case scenario and say, okay, you got to be prepared for that. And if you're not prepared for that, then you're going to fail. So people spend tons and tons and tons of money doing everything these preppers tell them to do. And I know they do because I read the comment section. Thanks, YouTuber. You saved me. I'll go out and buy a bunch of ammo today. You're right. I need to stockpile. And I think, man, these guys are running these people broke, scaring them. So one of the things that keeps being brought up to me is I am not prepared for SHTF, stuff hits the fan, because my defenses are too low. And there's all kinds of reasons why my defenses are too low. I guess one is because I don't talk about firearms. This isn't a firearm channel, and I'm not a firearm expert. So people just assume I don't have firearms. Of course, a lot of people think that I am of a political persuasion that don't believe in firearms. That's not true. I have firearms. But I'm not going to get into all that. But the other thing is these people who brag about their firearms. You realize that it's actually safer if people don't know you have firearms? Because if they think you have firearms, they'll try to figure out ways to get around it. I mean, think about it. These shootings. People who go around shooting, all these shootings, they do it in targets that they know there's no firearms. Just, I think yesterday, there was a shooting in Indiana, and a guy with a firearm who was breaking the law because he wasn't supposed to have the firearm in there, was able to take down the bad guy, a civilian, a hero, take down the bad guy. So people don't want to come to an area that has firearms. So if you just kind of keep it hush-hush. So the good guy was able to take out the bad guy because the bad guy didn't know the good guy had a firearm. Whereas if the bad guy knew the good guy had a firearm, the bad guy would have taken out the good guy first. Secondly, if you brag about your firearms, and let's say you go somewhere, that gives the bad guy a perfect opportunity to come and steal your firearms. The other thing is I think a lot of these preppers watch too many movies growing up, and they all think that when the end of the world happens, Rambo, Sylvester Stallone, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be in charge of the bad guy scenario. I remember growing up and I watched that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Commando. And there was a scene in there where he had what I now call, since that movie, I was in my teens, that movie came out, I call it the never-ending bullet gun. It never runs out of bullets. It just had an endless supply of bullets. And Sylvester Stallone in the Rambo movies, him as well, he never ran out of bullets. And if he did, he threw the gun to the side and picked up another gun. Well, in real life, that doesn't happen. Guns do run out of bullets. So they have this scenario where every bad guy is going to have a never-ending bullet gun. And they're all going to come to your house, and you have to figure out a way to defend yourself against the never-ending bullet gun. Well, let's talk about reality. The reality is most people who are going to come and take your food, let's just assume that the preppers are right and hordes of people are going to come and take your food and going to swamp your home. It's unlikely they're going to have a lot of guns, especially the never-ending bullet gun, because they're not prepared. Preppers are prepared. You know, they got the stockpile of ammo. Now, I guess we could all say that we have to watch out for the preppers, because when they run out of food, they're going to be coming out looking for food because they're stockpiling. They're going to run out of food. So for us off-gridders and self-sustaining folks, after, I don't know, 3 to 6 months after their stockpile runs out, that's when we need to start thinking about things. The reality is it's not likely that people are going to come and storm your house unless you're in a very populated area. I watched a pretty realistic TV show, I think it was on Discovery or History Channel, and they tried to show what would happen if some pandemic hit, and they went through the whole scenario. And the best thing they did, again, none of the preppers are experts on this, including me, because it's never happened. As a matter of fact, I got a comment last night, I've been prepping for 20 years, and I know for a fact that you're not going to be able to survive because you're not well defended. I don't care how long you've been prepping. No one is prepared for any hordes of people scenario because it's never happened. I mean, we have hurricanes and we get looters, but that's always in the cities. You never hear about it in the countries. Yeah, Walmart gets looted, and the mall and the gas stations, but not some country folk. What do they got? Country folk don't have anything. As a matter of fact, why would anybody come to my house? It's tiny. What the heck could I possibly have in here? Would you rather spend your resources? Think about this. I said this the other day. When it comes to energy, you have two types of energy. Food energy. So if you're walking to a location, you're going to have to eat plenty of food to get to the location to get more food. Doesn't really make sense to go to a place that has a tiny house. Or if you have a car, gasoline, and you're going to go looking for food and gasoline, you're going to not come to a tiny house because they ain't going to have any gasoline or much food. You're going to go to some place there's food. Is the risk worth the reward? Now, the hordes of people that are going to come down and just with their never-ending bullet guns, they're going to come down here and they're going to waste their never-ending bullet guns on a little tiny house and come up with a little bit of food. Okay, you know, the 300 people are going to come and they're going to take all my food. Well, everybody gets one jar of food. Was it really worth the fight to come and take my food? No, it wasn't. They're going to go to more populated areas. So people in more populated areas are at risk. So back to this TV show I was talking about, or movie, or 2-hour episode. The family threw out a bunch of blankets and clothes and threw it out in the front yard. That way, the bad people, or the people looking for food, already thought the place had been ransacked. And so people who were coming by just ignored it because they figured there was nothing in the house. So again, yesterday, after I've said this I don't know how many times, you're never going to survive. You're going to be nowhere better off than a stockpiler because you live next to a road. Okay, I live next to a road in an area that has very few people. But go to a rural area that is not a farming area is what I'm saying. So when you're looking for your off-grid place, go out into the hillbilly areas. Go out to the, I don't know what they called, the Appalachian mountain areas. Go to those places. If the people do come out with their never-ending bullet guns and they want to go looking for food, they're not going to come here. This is a tourist area. There's no farms here. There's no food here. There's no livestock here. So they're not going to come here. They're going to go to farming communities. Now, Carolyn and I was talking about this today, and she doubts that they'll even go to farming communities. And this makes a lot of sense. If you're hungry and you're on the move, you're going to want to get canned foods, things that you can carry. So you travel 20 miles, you're going to go into a store, you're going to get all the things you can put in your backpack and your kid's backpack and your wife's backpack. You're going to eat as much as you can while you're there, and then you're going to head on out with a backpack full of food. And that makes a lot of sense. So these hordes of people with their never-ending bullet guns, let's think about this for a minute. They're going to go to a farming community, and they're going to be starving, they're going to hungry, and they're going to take out the farmer, and then they're going to go out back and they're going to butcher a cow. So now what? They got the meat off the cow. They'll be able to start a fire, and the only thing they'll be able to do is cook up the meat that they can eat for that day, for that minute, and then they got to leave the rest behind. That puts them at serious risk if you really think about it. First of all, you got the smoke from the fire or however they're cooking it. Of course, you got all these people with their never-ending bullet guns who just made a bunch of noise. They're going to attract more hordes of people with never-ending bullet guns, and it's going to be World War III around John's farm with all those cows. It's not likely that anybody's going to butcher. Secondly, for those who are not preppers or off-gridders, it's unlikely that they actually know how to butcher. So they're not going to want to go and take a cow, and even if they just take the leg off the cow, they're not going to put it in their backpack and travel around town. They're not going to smoke it and cure it and do all the things they need to do to preserve it. They're going to be on the move because there's more bad guys. So I think this idea that it's going to be Mad Max, I don't think it's true. I mean, when we think about hurricanes, you don't hear about Farmer John getting ransacked or looted. You hear about the malls and the gas stations and the Walmart. They get looted. Hurricane Katrina, everybody was looted. Now there we saw civilians getting injured as well. But what happened in New Orleans was they took away everybody's firearms. So it told the bad guy, nobody's armed. But then when you go to Texas or Miami and those hurricanes hit, the looting is actually a lot less. It's more realistic that you're going to go somewhere where there might actually be some food, like a store. So if you can click that super thanks button, I appreciate it. So I hope I can inspire you to think realistically and don't be scared, so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.